welcome back to the weekly market recap. We go over this week's market while keeping it as simple as possible. Now, first thing first, I want to go over the S&P 500 charts. And the S&P 500 is painting a very detailed picture of the relative strength in the market. And you know I have to let my viewers know exactly what could be to come in the market. And then we're going to talk about everybody's favorite saga, and that is tariff wars. And tariff wars is heating up again with some new tariffs that announced this week that might shock some viewers. Then we're going to talk about some major economic data that had a huge impact on Friday's market to close the week. And then finally, we're going to talk about what's to look for in next week's market. Now let's get straight into it. This week in the S&P 500, we received a huge fake off in the market. Looking at the S&P 500 chart for this week, you'll see we started off Monday very green. We actually gapped up to about 5,750, and then we went down, and we went down nasty off some news on tariffs. And I'll get into that in a little bit, but you'll see that the market sold off this week. Now let's look at a zoomed out chart. So you'll see for the last 2 weeks, the S&P 500 was down, and it was down to about 5,500. And then we had a nice rally, and it looked like the market was about to take off. And then this week, we sold all the gains that we built up for the last 2 weeks. So the picture the market is painting is the market is very weak. Usually when you have a huge sell-off in the market like we have for the last couple of months, the market does have a nice bounce. And we finally got a little bounce. And as soon as we got any bounce, the market sold right back off. And again, the main culprit for that, you guessed it, tariffs. Tariffs was a huge topic this week, and it had the market selling off in a major way. So first, we had a rumor on Monday that the tariffs were going to be very specific, and it wasn't going to be broad spread on all different type of markets. So the market did gap up on that Monday. But Donald Trump did let us know what exact tariffs were going to get put into play. And his big announcement was he was going to put a 25% tariff on all cars that were not made in the United States. So all cars that got imported in the United States got a 25% markup in price. And people don't realize that's not just cars, that's actually car parts that were not made in the United States. And a lot of the major companies like Ford, GM that were United States brands, but they got a lot of imported parts to different plants they have around the world. And Canada and Mexico is a huge player. So anytime any of those companies do business outside of the United States, price get hit up 25%. So that had the market panicking. The market sold off in a very strong way. Now it's very interesting because some car makers said what they'll do is they're just going to change the prices on the cars. But Donald Trump said, hey, you guys make sure to not change the prices because that will make even more inflation. So again, this game of cat and mouse is very interesting. You have to see who exactly is the winners and losers. But one winner might be Donald Trump's allies in Tesla because a lot of the Tesla factories are American made. So we'll see how that plays out. Now let's get into some economic data. Friday, we received the PCE data, and the PCE data actually came in year over year in line. Again, the core PCE actually came in slightly above. So again, PCI is the business inflation gauge. So we're seeing a slight uptick in inflation for companies. But the huge news that caught my eyes was the consumer spending is coming down slightly. The consumer spending is a big deal for companies because if the consumer like me and you are not spending money with these companies, the stock prices will get affected in a negative way. And it's funny because just the day before, Lululemon actually reported earnings and they said the same thing. They said the spending of the consumer is weakening. And if you look at this chart, you'll see Lululemon actually did take a dive this week. So again, that consumer spending is something we have to keep an eye on. Next week should be an action-packed week in the stock market because it is the end of Q1. So that huge sell-off we did receive might be coming to an end because some of the big funds might be adjusting their portfolio. And usually when a new quarter starts, they start buying some different stocks. So we'll keep an eye on that. But as well, Tuesday is April Fool's. So again, you always have to be cautious when days like that happen in the market. And then on April the 3rd, those auto tariffs are going to come into play. So again, next week we have a lot of things to look forward to, but I will let you guys know exactly how they play it off. Again, this is the weekly market recap, and I'll see you soon. Peace.